Hello, Enrique Ashkabuk here. Um, I am a woman who rules with a new leaf, standing bearer, grandmother's keeper. Uh, yeah, um, I just want to share um, some some things that I've been thinking and meditating and praying and researching, writing some things that have just just come to my light, and God has been speaking to me. But first, before I do all that, I just wanna I'm gonna play this song. I'm gonna sing along with it, um, just just because it speaks to right now, before all of this coronavirus started um, taking over. Uh, the church has been. This is kind of this song here talks about it. Just talks about the Church of Laodicea. That's in the book of Revelations, and Laodicea means lukewarm, and it's the last church in that's mentioned in the book of Revelations. It's the last letter to the church, and it's the last church. And when I look at Revelations, and I look at the churches, and what it says in there, it's really revealing about the history. And I study world history and things that have gone on in the world, and how the world is and where it is right now, in terms of history. So and who are history, and where the past, and where we are in the present. And I just wanted to say to just share this video and talk a little bit more about that, and a little more um, uh, about just revealing about us indigenous people who been wrestling with God, and been wrestling with God since 1492. Before that, we had a pretty awesome, amazing relationship with Creator, and we were ready for a new relationship. But I'll talk more about that but let's first, I want to share this song and sing it for you. And this isn't easy for me to admit. I got a fire inside, and some words I know I can't keep in. I see faith turning into a show of Sundays and sermons, and words getting caught in the flow. Oh, but we got real pain and real fears, thirsting for the drying of our real tears. It's not satisfying anymore. Ain't it true that the veil was torn? I don't need no stained glass to be washed in His blood. I don't need no perfect, put together pretty words to be enough. No, I want Jesus and His real love, something I crave deep inside of my bones. So you can leave your religion at home. Spend my life trying to keep all the rules. I know it's not about what I've already done, but about what I think that I gotta do. Don't need no stained glass to be washed in his blood. I don't need no perfect, put together pretty words to be enough. I want Jesus and his real love, something I crave deep inside of my bones. So you can keep your religion at home. I want real love. I got real pain and real fears, thirsting for the drying of my real tears. It's not satisfying anymore. Ain't it true that the veil was torn? Don't need no stained glass to be washed in his blood. I don't need no perfect, put together pretty words to be enough. I want Jesus and his real love, something I crave deep inside of my bones. So you can keep your religion at home. I want real love. I want real love. I want real love. Here's another song that I really love, and it moves me. I'm just gonna listen to it and just have you listen to it. This song is called Heartbeat by Becca Shea, and you know there's words in it where it says, for times such as this, you know, we've been fighting injustice, and it's time to get together and be united and be together. And you know, the heartbeat of our mother, in time to get together and, you know, be united and with Creator. So I'm no perfect person. I struggle with a lot of things like anybody else, and you know, I'm just here going to be that voice of the one calling in the wilderness, saying, prepare your hearts for Creator. Yeshua is coming, and we are here. This is I don't know, I guess the spirit of Elijah and Moses, because I'm calling for the freedom of indigenous peoples here, and I call us the New Israel, because you know we've been here, we've been living in being conquered, been living you know, as like foreigners in our own land, and been living like third class citizens in our own territories, in our own lands, in our own places. Our people have been suffering since 1492, and and the words went out, and going out, and people went out conquering, and came here and conquered the lands, and came here and raped and pillaged our people and our lands, and came and stole our lands, and here now we are, and right now, as the world is going to be facing, Creator says, "Blessed are the meek, and for they will inherit the earth." Well, we've been the meek in our own lands for all this time, and we know how to live. Indigenous peoples here know how to live and survive on very little. It's that is the richness that we have in our culture, from being oppressed and put down, pressed down, shaken together and put together. That's we've been pressed down, shaken together, and overflowing with that wisdom and that knowledge that Creator has, and we're not destroyed. We are still here, and right now there's this virus that's going on in the world. And when I was up on that mountain, and I was not on the mountain, on the bridge, on that bridge, because it is a bridge. And right now I'm trying to bridge the understanding. There's a lot of symbolism in the whole ceremony that went on, and that's what I'm going to talk about. You talk about all the symbolism of everything that happened when we were on that bridge and on the ceremony, and what I experienced, because it is a prophetic experience, and a very spiritual experience, and powerful time. And Creator has really been speaking to me and showing to me and revealing to me what a lot of things have mean. Many prophets and stuff, like many prophets and teachers in the Bible have, like Amos, their lives and the decisions that they made and the things that they went through were symbols of, was symbols of what God was doing with the nation of Israel. We are indigenous people. We are the new Israel. Right now, we think about it right now. What was this called in 1492 after everything? It was called the New World. And right now we're in the New World. And right now, we've been fighting now for our freedom. And there's a lot of pretty awesome, pretty neat dates and times and things that when things have happened, and I look at the word and what Creator says in there, because Creator gives this word, and this word was going to go out to all the world, all the nations, to everywhere, and everyone could hear it. Everyone has the opportunity to be able to hear the word to go out, and the word has gone out to all the nations. And right now we have social media, and social media right now is available everywhere. This is a one world community right now that we have access to, on the Facebook, on the internet, all these social media. It is a community, a one world. All the world has come together. This is the, I guess, what you could call Babylon. And the United States is a symbol of Babylon. And so, and it says that there's going to be a fall of Babylon in Revelations. That's a lot of, right now, the Americas, in North America, Canada, and the United States. But I'd say primarily it's the United States. Canada right now is in a unique. Creator has Canada set up in a place to be a nation, to bring healing. That's why we have a red leaf on our flag. and the red walls, because the red leaf is brings healing, um, and that red leaf is a signal, a signal for healing, because that's what a leaf signifies. And the United States, well, you can say or call it Babylon, because it's always been people going after the American dream, and this idea of capitalism, the spirit that lies behind capitalism, and the spirit right now that has been lying behind capitalism. And I the spirit of capitalism is what invades and is corrupting and is an abomination. Is an abomination of desolation. Um, that it talks about, is heading towards, is a tool that is used for the abomination of desolation. And in terms that right now, this temple, this world, this this world that we live in, is that 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 God created, you know, that was created here, that we live in, is good and beautiful and wonderful, and has enough to sustain us and give us life and give us everything we need, more than we need. And it it gives us enough to, if with a little bit of work, all it took was a little bit of work, and you have your food and shelter and everything you need. Creator gave us the ability to be able to work the land, and the brains and the knowledge and the know-how to be able to learn and explore and do things. Creator gave us all of that. So I some of you are probably like wondering, like, maybe like, who is this? And some of you that know me, well, know my heart, and know that I only care. And some of you might think, like, is this lady like off her rocker? Like, what really is going on here? Is she crazy? And well, for a long time, my last name was Déranger, and Déranger means disturbed, deranged, and so I'm used to it. And I've been through a lot. I've been through so much in my life, so much turmoil, a lot of trauma, a lot of times I've died, nearly died, survived suicide, numerous suicide, depression, car accidents, stabbings, rape, molestation, I don't know, just abuse, neglect, but I've also experienced so much love, joy, peace, amazing, powerful, like all the good stuff truly outweighs, even though that all that stuff that has been happened was pretty horrendous, and my life has been a struggle, and nothing but a struggle. But I'm thankful and I'm grateful for everything I have, for all the skills I've learned and that I can teach and share with with my future generations. And it's nice knowing that my history and my people. And when I went in, do the get the blood work and find out that I'm a Jew, from descendant from Levi and Dan and Ephraim, which is really kind of neat. Um, and and I'm Italian, Roman, and I'm also Dene, which is from the northern Dene Athabasca Chippewa First Nations. There's also the southern Dene, which are the Navajo people. If you look in the history of, back in history a long time ago, they split. Um, but they have a culture that's similar. Their art's the same, language. It's really kind of neat. Although the dialect, they might not quite understand each other, but the language is there, and the culture is there, and the art is the same, and it's really neat how people migrate, and how people have migrated in history. And when I look at when I in my anthropological studies and studying the migrations of peoples and nations and where people went, and how people traveled, um, it's really was and a lot of the studies are, earlier, like 20 25 years ago, were kind of speculative, and the a lot of the evidence was just still being discovered at that time, and a lot of archaeological studies were just still happening and still being discovered, and the archaeologists on the time were unwilling to move their chronologies and their dates, and were unwilling to look past the carbon dating and seeing the flaws that happened, that were in carbon, in the carbon dating and the dating that they used, in terms of ruins. People that know how old some ruins are, and then to what they tried to date them, like these, it was just a bridge and some kind of hut or something, and it wasn't that old, and the people knew who built it, and the archaeologists came there and did the dating and tested it, and they were trying to, and then and according to their data, their dating, that site was 10,000 years old or something like that, and then they said, no, this site isn't that old, this was just from 100 years ago. So it was like and it was just how fast things had overgrown, and it's just some things, when people try to tell me that, oh, it's science, and I was like, well, I believe in science, and I believe that there, and in science, as long as we and if you look at it through an eyes, and I see, what creator's intent. Ask God, creator, to show me what he intended, what the purpose is, and all of this, because creator has a purpose for all creation. All of it, none of it is nothing creator does is by accident. He has a purpose and a plan for everything. Every single grain of sand, dust, particle of water, he knows about everything. And it all has a purpose, no matter how small or tiny or insignificant that purpose may seem to us and our limited understanding. To creator, that purpose is important. And if he can give that importance and know that single grain of sand or dust in the universe, or how long a star is going to shine, and how long everything is going to happen, how many hairs are on our head, how many days we're going to live, and how many things that's going to happen. Creator knows it all. There's nothing that catches him by surprise. He knows all the things that are going on. And right now, is I want to share about the heartbeat, because all of creation right now, we need to come together, and um, and be united. And be united. Just give me a second here. Oh, well, anyways, I guess I'll just listen to this one. I was trying to find a different one. Okay. And hands let us ransom people for all die. From every tribe and language, people, every nation. Where warriors have fallen, there's a resurrection coming. It's your time to rise and shine. Oh, wake up, you sleeping giants. Those love and justice are being healed by the peace. Oh, yeah, bringing us power through unity. Where warriors have fallen, there's a resurrection coming. Tribals, come alive. Yeah, wake up, you sleeping giants. I feel it. I feel your heartbeat. I feel it. I feel your heartbeat. I feel it. I feel your heartbeat. I feel it. I feel it. I feel it. Yes, you are. Bring us together. Bring us together. Yes, you are. Bring us together. Bring us together. Together we cry. Yes, you are. Oh no. Oh well. The internet went out. And has let us ransom people for all die. From every tribe and language, people, every nation. Where warriors have fallen, there's a resurrection coming. It's your time to rise and shine. Oh, wake up, you sleeping giant. Those love and justice are being healed by the peace. Oh, yeah, bringing us power through unity. Where warriors have fallen, there's a resurrection coming. Tribals, come alive. Yeah, wake up, you sleeping giant. I feel your heartbeat. I feel it. I feel your heartbeat. I feel it. I feel your heartbeat. I feel it. I feel it. Feel it. Yes, you are. Bring us together. Bring us together. Yes, here we cry. Yes, you are. Bring us together. Bring us together. Together we cry. Yes, you are. Bring us together. Bring us together. Yes, you are. Your heartbeat. Your heartbeat. Oh, your heartbeat. This is the hour to know who's inside to stand by. Raise up the standard and for every fellow tribe. Warriors are fighting. There's a revival igniting for such a time. Blazing fire. Listen to your destiny. The rhythm of our fathers moves with us victory. There's a revival igniting. So bad. And the eyes are blazing fire. heartbeat. Yes, you are. Bring us together. Bring us together. We cry. Yes, you are. Bring us together. Bring us together. Together we cry. Yes, you are. Bring us together. Bring us together. We cry out, out for your heartbeat. Your heartbeat. Oh, give us your heartbeat. Yes, you are. Bring us together. Bring us together. We cry. Yes, you are. Bring us together. Bring us together. Together we cry. Yes, you are. Bring us together. Bring us together. We cry out, out for your heartbeat. Your heartbeat. Oh, give us your heartbeat. I just love that. Um, it's just one thing, and you think about Israel. They wrestled with God, and we've been wrestling with God's people. And I've been, and in my study here, and I look at what's going on, and I see what's going on in the world. Creator says to watch for the days and the times and where we are. And when I think about, us indigenous peoples living here in living here in the Americas, and we've lived here for a long time, and creator showed us how to live here. But in getting to what's happening here right now, I think about. I just want to tell you a little bit about, just a bit about me. Things that happened there, that happened on that bridge when we fasted and prayed. Before all of this, just before this coronavirus was happening, and it was starting to happen. It was starting to come out. And last December, I remember before Christmas, and thinking and praying, and 2020, and right now, when I was on the bridge, and we went to go walk on the bridge when we shut down the bridge. We went to go walk up on the bridge to do the water ceremony. As we were going up to the bridge, I had on this stuff, all this heavy stuff, like these blankets and all this stuff, because I was told that it was going to be cold, and really cold. So, and I wanted to make sure that I wasn't freezing. But all that stuff that I was carrying on me, that I carried on me, and everything that I had brought, I had this poncho, this sweater, this all these. I had these two blankets, and I was walking up, and it was as I started walking, it was okay. And then as I started walking up, all my stuff started getting really heavy, and it was really burdening, and it was really heavy. And I had my water bottle, and and I just remember and carrying that, and I was gonna put it down, and I was gonna leave it. First time when I sat down, there was 4 times when I was on the bridge, and the first times, and I would say I fell down, but I had to rest. So I went and rested and sat on the side of the bridge and sat there and rested and prayed and was just praying. And I remember having the water bottle and thinking I'm gonna put it down. I'm like, no, I can't. Um, I gotta carry it. This is the water I need, and I might get thirsty, and it'll be hard to continue walking if I don't have this water. I could dehydrate and collapse. And I had been fasting already for 2 days. At that time, I was already 2 days into my fast, and and doing that, and going up on that bridge. I was in my second day on my fast, and I was going up on the bridge, walking, and sat down and rested, and then I got back up and I walked, and I remember kind of staggery walking and getting tired and getting winded and losing my breath and having a hard time breathing, and I'm coughing, and I wasn't feeling well. Um, and I would sat down and I rested. Um, I got up and again, and got up, and then I got up again, and I went on the bridge, and I was walking, and I was fine for a while, um, and then I got sick again. I felt like sick again and dizzy, and I got a headache and all these feelings, and I got like this aching feeling and this horrible feeling, and I sat down and I rested, and I took a drink, and uh, but I couldn't drink it. I had to spit it out, and then I got up and I walked on the bridge again, and then I sat down and fell down again, a third time after walking, uh, and then I kind of fell down a third time, and I'm sitting there and I'm resting and just praying and thinking, uh, about elders and about sick and about the homeless and about all the crime and all the stuff that goes on in the world, and what drives all this is this economy. What drives all these things is this economy, this system that we have, that we live in right now, this capitalistic empire that set out to conquer the world, and it infects like every part of the world right now. And then the fourth time and then that third time I got up and I went up and I went to the bridge and I walked up, and I was up on the bridge, and when I got to the top of the bridge, I was really uncomfortable. I was tired, but I couldn't sit anywhere. I couldn't find some place to sit, and it was so crowded. Um, it was kind of like so kind of crowded, and I'm trying to kind of fit my way in there to try to find out so I can see what's going on, you know, with the ceremony and all that stuff. And finally, so at some point, I was able to, I don't know, something happened where I was able to get into this spot, and I was able to sit down there and be able to sit down there and rest. And at that time I was just feeling so tired, and I was having a hard time breathing, and I was exhausted, and I had a headache, and everything that was going on. I was having a hard time breathing, then I sat down, and I'm sitting there, and resting and starting to get better, and the ceremonies happening. And the ceremonies happening, there was uh, we were doing this thing and praying, and and I asked someone to make a bundle, make an offering for me. And then they said something, about giving shiny things, and so I gave one of the copper bells off my thing here, and and I remember looking at my ring, my engagement ring, and praying. It's like, oh, I wish I could give you my ring, but I don't know. I don't think my husband would understand, you know. But I wish I could give you the diamonds in my ring, or my ring. And then when I left the the bridge, or when I left that bridge or whatever, I know that the rock in my ring, the diamond, was gone. Um, I guess it had went in the bundle, and it was offered, and creator took it. And I prayed from the beginning, and before all of this stuff, and before I started my fast, and before all of this, and it was there in the teepee at the occupation, and there with the people, and I'm thinking, to be being here with the people, and supporting all of this, and praying. I've been praying for the emancipation, and I've been talking about it in my videos for about a year, and I've been for about a year. The early videos that I make, um, the message, I got so excited, and sharing, that my words might have got a little lost and confused, and what I was sharing. So I'm gonna bring a little clarity to a lot of what has been shared before, and what I'm sharing now, and what had happened on that in that ceremony. I pray for in the beginning, and I was at that fire, and I had the medicine in my hand, and I asked Creator, I said, to come, and I cover this whole thing, all of this, what's going on, with your blood. Invite your Holy Spirit to move. And a lot of the people that are there and involved, are followers of Yeshua. They believe in Yeshua, and were able, and it was neat, because I know a lot of them, and I know their hearts, and being able to have a conversation, and with some people, and seeing that there are a lot of people that believe,